Hey everybody, and welcome to Malt Muser Whiskey Reviews. I am Eric. Up on the bar for today, we got a bit of a face-off. Compass Box Great King Street Glasgow Blend, the standard release, versus a single marrying cask. As always here on the channel, nose taste finish review coming up of these whiskeys. I'll tell you a bit about their value, give you my final thoughts, final score, tell you which one I think is best worth your money, and of course, leave you with a malt musing. But first, if you've yet to, take a second, smash that subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss these reviews. They come out every Friday here on YouTube. I also have a happy hour every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Would love to see you on that YouTube live stream. Okay, Compass Box, they are not a single malt. They are a blend. So Compass Box blends single malts together to make a blended malt whiskey. In this case, however, we are looking at a blended Scotch whiskey, and that is because these Great King Street release includes grain whiskey in it, so it is not all malt whiskey. This is a very introductory range that comes out of the Compass Box blenders. These run, there's a couple different versions. There's this one that we're going to talk about today. There's also one called the Artist Blend and the New York Blend. The Artist Blend is a bourbon cask. This one in particular is Glasgow. So the Glasgow blend is, as it says here, bold, peaty, and sherry. It is non-chill filtered natural color. It says so right here on the label. This standard release bottled at 43% ABV. Here's a little story behind the Great King Street range. Comes from Compass Box, dedicated to creating contemporary Scotch whiskeys in full flavored style of the great 19th century blending houses. In creating these blends, we drew on archived recipes from the golden age of whiskey making, then updated them with our 21st century custom cask maturation techniques. So they are harkening back to a different age with the style of these whiskeys in particular. All right, let's talk about this one. This is the single marrying cask. So much like a single barrel whiskey or a single cask whiskey, when you have a blend like this, these are all being, the blended whiskeys are being put into marrying casks. And this is all coming out of one in specific. This one in particular was selected by Prestige L'Etoile. It is, the marrying cask is a ex-sherry marrying cask. This is bottled at 49% ABV, still non-chill filtered, still natural color, bold, peaty, and sherry. So excited to talk about these two whiskeys head to head. I did do a little bit of extra research online because I'm good like that. To tell you kind of what is in these blends. So the blend of the Great King Street here, this is the standard release bottling. Again, it is 34% grain, 66% malt. The grain comes from Cameron Bridge. As far as the malt goes, it is 35% Ben Rennes, 17% Lafroig, 8% Kleinlich, 2% Milton Duff, and 4% Highland malt, which is made up of 60% Kleinlich, 20% Dahluen, and 20% Tanninic. The casks that this is all matured in, ex-bourbon, ex-sherry, rejuvenated hogsheads, and French oak hybrids. There you go. Both of these have no age statement. One last thing I will mention regarding age on the single marrying cask. This was married together 29th of January 2019 and bottled October 7th, 2019. So spent about 9.5 months marrying together in that ex-sherry cask. Okay, a lot of info. But now that you got that, let's get these in the glass and let's start talking about these two whiskeys. First thing I want to show you, as I mentioned, these are a natural color. So this here is the standard release. This is the single marrying cask in the sherry. You can see this is a bit darker, showing a bit more of that sherry age. Okay, we're going to start with the standard release. On the nose, nice, rich, fruity, flavorful, smoky, salty. There's good spice, apple, strawberry, honey. And you're getting just a touch of that bourbon cask, light brown sugar. Give the taste to lunch. medium bodied, nice, sweet, fruity arrival. Then you can hit with that peat smoke. And there's a lot of it. A little bit of a smoked meat quality, sweet, fruity flavors coming from that sherry. It's kind of strawberry. There's a bit of that orchard fruit like apple, and some pear maybe. And the oak as it goes into a medium long finish. Pretty good flavor, a little bit drying. A little bit of that apple cinnamon hanging around here on the end. Okay. Now on to the single Marion cask. Wow. A bit richer on the nose. It smells like it has a little bit more depth. There is more dried fruit. And again, orchard fruit, caramel apple. More oak spice on the nose. That peat smoke's not quite as aggressive. It's definitely there. Campfire. Almost like smoked fish, maybe hints of that. Okay. Give the Marion cask a taste. Much richer, more complex arrival. Thicker mouthfeel arrives. Again, fruity. I'm getting some of that caramel, some light toffee, vanilla from the bourbon cask, but then heavy sherry notes, dried fruit, kind of like Christmas spices, and then really heavy sweet like plum, raisin even a little bit, apple. The smoke and the peat hit a little bit later in the development here, going to kind of a nice kind of creme brulee, slightly salted caramel, chocolate going into this finish. And it's a longer finish. This is a long finish on this one. Right. Wow, that chocolate really hanging around here on the single Marion cask. Very nice. Okay, a couple drops of water on each. I'm going to do 3 drops just for consistency's sake. See how this holds up. Okay, back to the standard release. Earthier. I feel like that peat smoke and the dampness has kicked up here. Still, it's got like an old wet oak barrel note going to it. The fruit's still there, subdued a bit more. Bourbon cask coming through a lot more here. And that graininess, you can definitely pick up a bit more of it now with the addition of water. The casks aren't quite overcoating the grain characteristic of this. Right, light. Nice mouth coat. Licorice, red licorice, cherry, black cherry. Much more vanilla, caramel, toffee coming through here. Brown sugar. Peat smoke still there, taking a little step back, not quite as spicy, medium long finish, still intact, vanilla. And just kind of vanilla malt, like the dessert. A bit more effervescent, a bit livelier, a little bit more citrus, a little bit more edge to it. Okay. Now on to the single Marion cask version. Again, this one's 49%, that was 43. Rich on the nose. I mean, we're not talking Glendronach 18 Allardyce rich, but we are talking fairly nice, rich kind of bourbon cask whiskey. I mean, surprising how much bourbon cask I'm getting here, given the sherry maturation and the Marion cask of sherry this was in. But it's there. Dry spices. It's much more on the drier side, Christmas spices. Kind of like a cinnamon, a little bit of a nutmeg, clove kind of thing. Nice. Mm. It's very sweet, full flavored, mouth coating. As it develops, nice punch of spice, nice kind of drying acidity that comes from this effervescent peat, but it is rounded off well with these with the cask maturation in here. Again, the bourbon notes coming through a lot more here. A bit of the French oak, that kind of dark, heavy, dessert-like quality, really kind of I tend to see shine through a lot with French oak. Spices there, getting a little bit of a bitterness, a little bit of a sour. This is really going across the flavor range a bit here. Finish shortened up just a little, but still very much intact. Peaty, sweet, spicy whiskey. But first, we're going to talk cost. Great King Street Glasgow blend. This is pretty easy whiskey to come by, especially here, even in the United States. Most liquor stores, you will find this on the shelf. This is a very much introductory range kind of priced whiskey from Compass Box. You'll find this right around that $35 price point, and I'm going to give that a medium high value for what you're getting in this bottling in particular. The Marion cask, single Marion cask, you're going to find these anywhere from around 45 to 50 bucks. Average maybe $10 to $15 more, a little bit more difficult to find. There are different liquor stores who are doing different single Marion cask picks. They're not all going to be in ex-sherry. Some might be in different casks, but generally speaking, you're looking at around $45 to $50, sometimes maybe like $55. And with that cost, I'm going to actually give this a high value for the price. And we will talk a little bit more about why in final thoughts. Okay. Final thoughts here. First and foremost, this is a good whiskey objectively. I personally have not been as impressed with the Artist Blend, which is the bourbon cask. I think this is much more dynamic and interesting. Peat, the different cask maturations that are going on in this. A tremendously good value for a lightly peated, well, maybe medium peated, I won't say lightly peated, sherried whiskey that's going to give you an interesting range of flavor. It's very easy to drink, very palatable, but it's also dynamic in its flavor. This standard release at that $35 price point, I would say is a great bottle to have on your shelf. It's a great pour that you can give to folks who are just learning about Scotch whiskey and trying to try different flavors. There's a lot going on here. Really good bang for your buck bottle. I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. I recommend grabbing a bottle of this for sure. Definitely trying it. As for the single Marion cask, this takes it to an absolutely next level. At that $45 to even maybe $55 price point for what you're basically getting is a single cask whiskey, although in the case of a blend, it's a single Marion cask. Tremendous value here. This takes the best of the core release, the standard release, to the next level. You have this additional sherry maturation here that is just giving this whiskey a lot of heft and depth. It's a whiskey you can sit down and drink every day and really enjoy. I love the balance of what's going on here. This is a damn good whiskey. I highly encourage folks to keep their eyes out for these and give them a try anytime you get the opportunity. This is a 4 out of 5 for me. I'm a big fan of the Great King Street blend, Glasgow blend in particular. This Great King Street releases 3.5 on the standard release, 4 out of 5 on the single Marion cask, in this case ex-sherry from Prestige Detroit. So hope you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments, have you had any of the Great King Street releases from Compass Box? Have you had any of the single Marion cask? What do you think? Leave a comment below, smash that thumbs up if you enjoyed this review. I'm going to kick you on over to your Malt Musing, and of course, we will see you next Friday here on Malt Muser Whiskey Reviews. Sláinte y'all.